Hey everyone, Leanne here from Kingdom Blogger. So today we are going to talk about how to turn your printable items, things such as prayer journals, Bible study notebooks, Bible reading plans, anything that you've created in a printable format, how to turn it into a digital format for use on iPad and tablet. So if you didn't know, digital media, use of the iPad, digital planners and all of that are like a huge market, a huge thing. And unfortunately, or fortunately for us, from the Bible study side of it, it's actually a quite underserved market. And so while it is a little bit of a tedious process, it definitely opens up a new door for income potential for one. So it enables you to take something you've already created, tweak it a little bit, and turn it into something that reaches an entirely different market audience. But it also fills a need that's not being served right now. And you can do this with anything. And so, planners, digital planners are great because you literally write your stuff right there on the iPad. And so imagine saving printer ink and paper and being able to write all your notes right there in the iPad. It is so awesome. I just learned about it a few months ago and now I'm obsessed with it. And so I'm going to show you today how to take your original printable template and then tweak it to where you can use it in an iPad format. All right, so let's hop over here. Okay, so this is one of my monthly reading plans. So whatever thing you have created. So mine, there's a page for prayer, your work, the notes that they would print out for each day to do their so I have with color and without, just if they wanted to save ink. So this is literally just the printable version. There's only one of each page, except for this one because I made one without color. And so they would print out, the worksheet and maybe the notes every day. So if the month, this is February, so there's 28. So they would literally need to print one of these out every day for 28 days. That's a lot of ink and a lot of paper. And so I also have 5 coloring pages that go along with my reading plans. And so these are how all of my reading plans look. Okay, so we're going to take this file. So this is an 8.5 by 11. And the first thing we're going to do is resize it to 9.5 by 12. So you're basically resizing it 1 inch wide and height, width and height. So from 8.5 by 11 to 9.5 by 12, we're going to resize that. And if we could go any slower. So now what we're going to do is I am going to duplicate that one and scroll up to the top. So we want to make a cover for it, right? So it looks like a nice actual book. I don't do this with my printable ones because they're just printing out the pages. So we want to keep the same kind of branding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all that. I'm going to remove the scriptures. This is the title. Now you can do this however you want. You can make the background a color. For this particular set, I'm going to keep them all white with just the elements on it. I'm going to push this up to about right here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to zoom this in a bit. We need to add margin lines. So if you come up here to File, and this will open up Show Ruler and Grid Lines. It should be checked. So we are going to drag. So you need to do top, bottom, and both sides at the 1/2 inch mark. Because remember, it was 1 inch total. And so half on top, half on bottom, half on each side. So we're just going to grab this. And you may need to zoom in a little more just so you can see it. So we're going to grab this and we're going to take it to, let me put my glasses on here, right at, if you can't get it exactly at the 1/2, so 5, and it's like 0.49 or whatever, that's totally fine, but just as close to it as possible. Now I'm going to zoom out just a tad and I'm going to drag one down towards the bottom. I'm actually going to get rid of these things. Then I'm going to zoom it back in so I can see right about there. And now I'm going to, so we've got top and bottom. Now we need to do the sides. You're going to grab this one here, pull it over to right about there. And one more on the left side. All right. So now as you scroll through each page, the page that is in the view, it'll pop up on there, right? I'm going to get rid of that too. Okay. So now what I've done with some of mine, I'm just going to copy this thing just for the sake of time. However you want to design this, you want it to look like a book cover. So I cheat. I make one and then I copy it from each of the other ones just so everything is the same size. And so I'm going to copy this here. Again, you can make your cover look however you want it. And I'm going to make that. Let's go with the red. Center. So now I'm going to, I want to pull this down a little bit more. So everything that we are going to put on this canvas needs to be inside the inner square. So nothing out here in these margin areas. So with your graphics that you add, if it was all the way to the edge, you would simply just pull it there, right? So it kind of crops it. And so I actually want this to be across the entire thing. And so I'm going to do this, and I want that one to go to the back. I want that one to go to the back, so this one's overlapping. Okay. And let's see, we're going to do that. Okay, so now I need to pull these ones in on the side. There. And then the same thing with these here. So I'm going to turn this thing around. Get rid of that one. And maybe pull it down a bit. And we need that to stay inside the line. Everything's inside the line. Okay, perfect. And then, of course, you know, if you want to tidy it up just to get it better centered, let me zoom this out. Okay, so this is my cover. Now we need to add, oops, that's not what I wanted, a square. And you'll see why in just a minute. So right now this is transparent. So we're going to fill this out. I'm going to make it white. And then I'm going to send it to the back. So what happens is when we get ready to add the tabs on this side, the tabs are colored. And if you don't have that white barrier back there, then the tabs are going to show through right here. And I'll show you what that'll look like if you don't do this. So now we've got the cover created. So I'm going to duplicate this twice. I'm going to do 1 and 2. So we have this one here. It's not going to have any tabs at all. These two, one is going to be transparent. One is going to have a wooden backdrop just to make it look like a book on a desk. So I'm going to come over here. Oh, I opened up the wrong one. Let me open. Well, you can just come over here and do a search for Spiral Notebook. And now you can do this later. I'm just going to do it in the beginning just so it's there. Make sure whatever spiral you choose only has the dark dots on one side and not both sides. So now I'm going to duplicate this and duplicate it once more. Now it's too long, so I need to crop it a bit. That looks about right. Okay. And then just so it doesn't get all wompy, I want to group it, duplicate it, and then put the second one on this one. Now, once you've created this on your first one, like January, then when you create the other ones, you can simply copy the stuff from the first one into the second. You don't have to recreate it every time. And then on this one, we're going to put you can choose any color, really. Just go with that one for now. I actually prefer. There we go. Okay. So now we have regular, and then we have 2 with the spiral. One of the spirals has a colored background. Okay. So now what we are going to do is order the things. So remember, in the printable version, you just need one of each. It doesn't really matter what order they're in because they're going to print them out. But this is going to be an actual book, a digital book. So the things need to be in order. So the first page is going to be my list of scriptures. Now I want my prayers. So prayer and prayer requests. I'm actually going to get rid of this one because it's digital, so they're not printing it out. So it's going to have the colored shaded blocks. And then notes, and then my reflections is going to go here. And this is here. So again, you order yours however you want. Now we need to label them. So this one is going to be scriptures because these are the tabs that I'm going to have. So first you got to figure out how many tabs and what they're going to be. We don't need that one. So notes. This is going to be reflections. So these are my tabs. I have scriptures, prayer, notes, the coloring pages, and reflections. Now for the daily scriptures, I'm going to duplicate this one because it's actually going to have 2 pages here. So I am just going to write here day 1. Okay. It's very important that the first actual worksheet that goes to day 1's, whatever the verse is for day 1. And you'll see, because we have to go back and link everything. So identify day 1 now. All right, so now we are going to go to number 2 here. So this is where you're going to create your tabs. So I am going to do shapes. Now you can use any shape you want. The ones I found to be the easiest. So I have 5 tabs. So we're going to take this, turn it sideways. I'm going to zoom this in just so we can see here. Now, how many tabs you're going to have is really going to be the deciding factor on how wide these things are. I know for 5, this size fits. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. And I'm going to, you need to get it right flush up with it, up at the edge, like flush with the side. And I'm going to go ahead and add my text right now. So when I duplicate these, the text is already sized. I'm going to use, oh, I don't know, let's use this one. And I'm going to make it white. So let's call scriptures. And turn it sideways. Now, I actually think I want medium. There we go. And we're going to take that down to, so I know I don't have any words that are going to be super long letters. You want to get it centered there. So it's important that you zoom in so that you can get it centered as best as possible. Probably go down. We'll go with 20. Okay. So now with it zoomed in like this, you're going to grab these 2 to group them. It's important that you're zoomed in because you don't want to end up grouping the graphic elements. You just want the word and the tab. Okay. And so I'm going to group those. So now I can zoom out. Now we are going to duplicate. Oops. And, oh, what did I do? Okay. We'll grab both of these. And actually, let's get my dip in there. And then one more. So I'll have 5 total. All right, so now obviously green's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So we can pick our different colors here. I'm gonna go every other one. And then with the green, I kind of want to do the lighter color here, just so it, you know, you have some what's the word? They contrast each other. Okay, so now we need to link these words. So first thing, okay, we had scriptures. Now we need to change this word to prayer, this one to notes, this one to coloring, and this one to reflections. All right, so now I see here that, oh, I can't spell coloring. And I'm going to ungroup this one so I can. Maybe a little more. Sometimes you have to really zoom it in to get. There we go. Okay. So now we want to link these. So first thing I'm going to do is click on the word scripture. Now you're going to click this little link button here. It's going to open up. And because we titled those pages, you'll see it here. So scriptures, that's going to go to that page. Hit done. I'm going to go to prayer. And you see it hyperlinks it. There's a line under it now. So we're going to do prayer and notes, coloring, and reflection. Now what we want to do, so they're all linked to where the pages they need to go to. So now we want to grab, we're going to zoom in this just a tad and just grab it to make sure that you're only getting the word and the tab. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, group it again. Now, I'm going to show you something really quick. So remember how we added the white square and stretched it out? The reason for that is when we go to put this on here, see, it's transparent, right? It's not gonna, because this is transparent, there's nothing there. But on this one, it has the white piece underneath it. And so you're gonna flush, what I do is take it all the way up to the line. And then I use the down arrow key just to sort of take it off just a tad. And then make sure it's flush up against here and then hit position to the back. And now it's centered behind that white page, right? And so it's very important that you put that white strip on the back side of all the pages that you have just to make sure that your tabs don't look like this. Okay. So I'm actually going to, we're going to duplicate. So I'm going to keep this one, well, we'll pull it down here. But what I first want to do is go through and add. So, okay, so we've gotten the tabs done. We'll go ahead and put this one here. We'll send it to the back. So what I like to do is first go through and get all my pages, then go through, I do the 3 title pages with the spirals and the tabs, get the tabs created. Now you need to go through each of the individual pages and get everything inside the lines, right? And the reason I did that, this, for some reason, I don't like this. And so you could just pull this in here, but it's going to have this blue mark. And so I just add a new one, just a square. Again, staying within the inside box. This was supposed to be a red color. Now pull my February down. And I want to actually send this to the very back so that these flowers show up over it. But the flowers are outside the line. So we need to bring these in. And so I'm just going to zoom it out just a tad. Oops. And so turn it where it's like this, because when you crop these, if you have it angled, you can't really crop them correctly. So I'm going to pull this. Let's do it right about there. And the same with these. So this, I'm probably going to make that a little more centered here. And those are right about the same spot. So I'm going to bring these in. Same with this one. Oops. And that. Actually, I need to pull that one up. We'll just duplicate this one. Flip it. There we go. Now they're the same size. So you're going to go through and do that for all. And the reflections page. Boom. Let's check a look. Everything's within the margin. So everything's in the right order. Okay, so now we're going to go through each page and add that white background. Again, it is a tedious process to create these, which is why not a lot of people do them, I think. But once you kind of get a routine down, back up here to this one. So we already duplicated it to the second page. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, duplicate. We're going to pull it down. I'm actually going to zoom this out. It's much easier this way. Boom. All right, so now all the pages have a thing. All right, so now this is where you're going to do some duplicating. And this will take a little bit of a few extra minutes. So we have so whatever pages are going to be the thing they need for each day, right? So the prayer, that's one for the whole month. The prayer request is just one page at the beginning, some notes and so forth. The reflections is for the very end of the study once they've done the whole thing. But these are going to be the daily study notes, right? For them to journal that day's verse and write any notes. So we put day one on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab both of these and we're going to just right click to duplicate. Now you can also hold your control key down and that way you highlight 4 at a time. This just to save time. Right click, duplicate 4. And I'm going to add hold the control key down to highlight these others. So now 8 of them. And then I'm going to do it one more time so that I have a total of 16. You don't have to do it this way. You can just do 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So now I'm going to duplicate 16. And I'm going to do it again. And one more time. So for a 31 day, you would have day 31 would be number 73 on mine. So depending on how many pages you have, you'll know how many of these you need. So now we're going to go through And again, once you do the first one, it's so much easier to do the remaining 11. So we've got day 1. So now I'm just gonna, and this is important, you have to label the days. So 28 plus a note. My reflections has 2 extra notes, and that's just my design. And then up here, I need to add an additional notes here because I wanted 2 of these. So prayer, notes, and then day 1 starts here. Okay. All right, so here comes the part that probably is going to take the longest time, but, and this is where the importance of labeling your days, day 1, day 2, day 3. So you're going to go to your scripture page. Now, it's important that when you made this, which I did not do it on here, so we are going to have to each verse needs to be its own text block. I did it for all 11 of the other plans, but I have not fixed this one yet. So you will just go through and, oops, let me bring that back. And duplicate. Of course, this will be day 2. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to do all of these. I'm just going to show you what we're going to do here. All right, so let's pretend that we've gone through and done all these. So each day, 1 through 28, needs to be its own text block. And so you will click on day 1, and then you'll come over here, click this, and go down to, no. This thing is going too fast. There we go, number 14, day 1, done. Go to day 2, day 2, done. And you'll do that for all 28, 30, or 31 days. That way, when they have the planner, because, you know, if they're just scrolling through the page, it could take forever, especially if they're on like day 15 or 20. This way, they will click with their tablet pen, they'll click day 1, and it will go to, it'll like jump to this page right here. And so day 1, you see day 1 plus the notes if they want to have additional notes. And then tomorrow when they come in, they just click on day 2 and it'll jump right to this. And that way they're not just having to scroll through to find whatever day it is. And of course, every page enables them to go right back to the scripture page. So if they click the word scriptures here, it'll jump them right back to the main page. Okay. So again, when you're creating your list of scriptures, it's very important that you make sure each day, each verse is in its own text block, because if you're going to make them clickable, you can only have 1 hyperlink per text block. And that's why you need to make them separate. So you go through and you will do all that. And so the reason, in case you were wondering, so now you see here, we have all the pages, the daily ones, the reflection, this is the very last one. So once the month is over, they can write any extra notes here. So now for these 3 title pages. So the first one is just a title page. You could put the white background on it just so it's not transparent. I like to have one like this without the tabs, and then one that looks like a book with the spiral and the tabs, but that's also transparent in case I want to put it, because this is meant for iPad. If you use an iPad smart mockup in Canva, if you have colored background, well, that'll put into the back of the iPad mockup, right? And so by having it transparent, it'll easily, so if the background of the iPad mockup that you're using is white, it'll just slide right in there and look like it's supposed to be there. So I create one that's looks one with just the cover, no tabs, no spiral, one with the spiral and the tabs so that they see that it is a book. And then this one, you can put any color that you want just to make it look like it's a book sitting on a desk, right? And so there's 3 styles. And these are just to give you variations when you make your Etsy mock-ups, or if you're going to make Pinterest pins, or however the promo materials for it. This gives you 3 ways that you can do it. So this with the wooden background would not transition into an iPad smart mock-up. So the one that you slide it in, it looks like it's in the iPad. And so that's why you have the one that's transparent. And so that's the whole reason for having 3 different versions. Obviously, you're not going to put all 3 versions in the actual book. So what I do, again, batching things. So get your printable version done first, all 12 printable versions, and then come through and then resize each one. So right now we're doing, say, February. Oh, I need to change this too. This should say 28 day. All of these. 28 and 28. So everything is good. Everything's good to go. You've gone through, checked all your spelling, checked whatever, right? It's ready to go. So first I'm going to print. Okay, so once we get everything done, we are ready to start downloading the images, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download PNG. I'm going to pull this all the way to 3, so it's a higher quality image. I'm going to choose transparent background, and we want to do this second image, the one with the tabs and the spiral. So I'm going to save that one, right? Save it as PNG. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do PNG 3, not transparent background, just leave it. But I'm only going to do the main one. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of these. I'm going to uncheck that. So we want the cover, prayer, OneNote, the coloring pages. Again, whatever you have. The worksheets, one of each. There's like 28 days worth, so we don't need all that. And the reflections. So it's basically, you want to do a high quality PNG of one of each of what you have. This way you can do your mock-ups, right, in your Etsy listings. And so you'll save that. It'll download it as a zip file. Okay, so one transparent PNG of this one, the transparent spiral binder one, transparent, and then PNG of one of each of your actual pages, not the entire thing, just one of each of the pages. Save those to a zip file. And then you will save this to, so you have PDF standard and PDF print. We're going to do PDF standard. And then you're going to actually leave all of them checked, but then uncheck number 1 and 2. So this will be your actual book, and it should start with this one, the one with the pretty background. So that way when they open it up, when they open it inside of GoodNotes or whatever program they're using, it'll be this view right here. So all pages should be selected for PDF, but then uncheck number 1 and number 2, or however you have them numbered. And then save that as a PDF file. So you'll have the transparent PNG single, you'll have the transparent PNG of one of, the regular non-transparent PNGs of all the images, one of each, and then the PDF minus these extra 2 covers. And that's it. This is how you take your main one and turn it into a digital one. The PDF file itself can be imported into GoodNotes, as long as you have the clickable links and everything already in it. Once they import it into GoodNotes, they'll just scroll through the pages with their pen. They can write in it, they can click the links, and everything works. Now, all those other images you will use to create your mock-ups, right? So make some really great mock-ups for Etsy. And then if you're going to have Pinterest pins for them, which you definitely want to have, you know, they're in your Etsy shop. So make pins that lead to your Etsy shop. But you want to have great mock-ups. If you're going to put them in a blog post, whatever you're going to do with them, social media, you want to have really good mock-ups with the iPad and with different things showing all the different pages. And so that's what you're going to use those PNGs for. So that is it. Again, this was just my design. You know, this same process works to create planners. Now in Canva, if you're creating one of these digital things as a PDF, it has to be 199 pages or less. Anything over 200 pages, Canva it doesn't go that far. So you would have to do it in a different way. But with these prayer journals, monthly reading plans, your Bible studies, so if you have themed Bible studies with, you know, questions and all that, and you have them in a printable version, take what you already have, turn them into a digital version, and then list those on Etsy as a digital good for GoodNotes, you know, iPad, all the things. And I promise you will start seeing an increase in interest, because there are the people who like to print at home, but you have a whole population of people who prefer to use the digital version because one, is better for the environment, but two, it's less expensive because you don't have to keep buying printer ink and paper. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. Drop your questions below. Be sure to join my Facebook group. And I would love to see the things that you're creating. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.